Hazbin Hotel has literally just finished as of today, and now that we realize we must wait a couple years in order to get Season 3, I think it's the best time to start analyzing Season 2. I do have something I need to admit. Hazbin Hotel has always been a guilty pleasure of mine, and although I love this show, I must admit the character arcs this season were not too good. Hate me all you want, but I can't deny that there is practically no substance with any of the main characters in the hotel that truly inspired any video to be made with them. But reaching outside the hotel, I found the perfect candidate for a video. Vox is easily the most well-written character in the entire show, from Season 2, Episode 1, from being a small little man with big dreams to the he dreamed of being, progressively becoming more and more realistic the more the season went on. To speak my mind on this, I am totally in awe with the character development Vox has had and how far he has come from being the petty loser baby during Stayed Gone and whatever he was doing in the finale. You may know I've been having my opinion series take up a lot of my time, but what better way to get back to the way things were than to talk about how Hazbin Hotel teaches us how to write an egotistical villain. Make sure to like, comment, hype, and subscribe because I'm trying to reach 40k subscribers by the end of the year, and I need your help. Now, there's different stages towards Vox's complete character perfection, and because at the time of writing this specific segment of the video, I haven't seen the final episode since I couldn't make a video in just one night without it being completely rushed. So I'm going to take this piece by piece and talk about the 2 episodes at a time that dropped weekly. Starting off in the beginning, we can all agree that Vox's plan is egregiously ridiculous. I mean, the plan revealed to us at the beginning is that the 3 Vs would storm heaven together in order to take it all over, and although we've seen some of Vox's power before, he loses his first fight in the entire series, and Season 1 kinda turned him into a joke after some time. So for him to just completely 360 to this ambitious plan says something about his character that we learn in Episode 1. It's said by Vox himself that he was a cult leader when he was a human, foreshadowing the full-scale plan we don't know just yet. The importance of this is that the most famous cults out there have leaders able to influence people to do whatever. Vox's past reveals what he really is, and even if we just take a look at how he delivers his first trust me, just me during their section in Hazbin Guarantee, before realizing he has to include the other Vs too. It's these little hints at the beginning that perfectly set up and foreshadow how the rest of the season would play out, and even though chronologically we don't know much about Vox's full plan, we know that the surface level of Vox isn't what he believes deep down, and whether or not you believe it was too obvious something was up behind the scenes shows more a testament to how important this teasing is to the rest of the story. Moving on to episodes 3 and 4, because 2 takes place in heaven, we really see Vox start his media takeover as he starts persuading the public that the Hazbin Hotel doesn't work and that Vox is trying to reveal the truth to the public. This will come up later in episode 5, but there is a huge deal with Vox spreading the quote-unquote truth, as this is the key to his plan people seem to miss when talking about his character. Vox is making himself come across as the only person who knows the truth about the mysteries hell has. I mean, episode 3 is literally titled Hazbin Hotel Behind Closed Doors, referencing the documentary played later on that smudges the truth on the hotel completely enough to make people suspicious of Charlie and not Vox, because all he declares he wants is to give people the truth. Secretly though, we know that Vox is spreading fake news in order to enlighten his own image. The same thing happens in episode 4 when Charlie tries to clear her name only for Katie Killjoy to take everything Charlie says as something negative because we know she works for Vox Tech. The other huge part of episode 4 is that Vox actually captures Alastor, and although we learn where their hatred for each other comes from, Vox really plays with him as he reprises Don't You Forget, Once We Get Up There, The Show Must Go On, and Stayed Gone, really tying together the plan Vox has and making it really clear his intentions. He has a team, but he only intends to become God himself, as seen during the song. Not only does it tie together his plan, it actually allows Vox to be more of a threat as he spins Stayed Gone as a negative for Alastor now that he has captured him, but here comes the fun part. At this time, we don't know the extent of Alastor's plan, allowing himself to be caught by the Vs, but what we do know is that Alastor knows how egotistical Vox is and knows that if he were to give himself up, he wouldn't dream of declining that offer, because somewhere in him, he needs validation from Alastor that he has won their almost century-long feud. I must say, I think that Don't You Forget Reprise is my favorite song of the season, and if you actually want to hear me sing this song, come back after the video is over and either click here or go into the description for the unlisted video. But within the actual show, this is the calm before the storm, proving to the audience Vox is egotistical, showing his ego comes from his past and is teasing us with the big showdown that the season is building up to, as Alastor refers to Vox when he says, "Lose your marbles" in Act 3, directly breaking the fourth wall to warn us. Moving on to the meat of this bone before the big final 2 episodes, 5 and 6 really up the stakes to the like of which season 1 couldn't compare to, even though the threat was an unbeatable army of angels back then. In episode 5, he decides to rally up all of the people of hell, which he specifically wants to do himself without any of the other Vs. The key with making an egotistical villain is they need to become more egotistical the more you see them, because if they don't become more and more egotistical, it's hard for them to become more threatening. But when Vox goes up against Lucifer and is able to turn all of hell against their king, and also steals his song to scare off heaven, really shows where he has come from, since the fanbase thought his plan would never work. But the more the show goes on and the more he wins and spins the truth, and of course, the more egotistical he gets, the higher the tension rises and the better the villain he becomes. Especially with Vox Populi and Vox Dei, which means voice of the people and voice of God in Latin. It's so good that it's funny when people don't realize he says that hell doesn't need a king and then later declares himself as the king. What really works about Vox as well is that he's egotistical but still mysterious with how he showcases his ego, because his plan is a rough idea of what he wants and how he may do it, but there are other things at play here. Like, we don't know exactly how he's planning on getting up there. We don't know what he's going to do with Carmilla's weapon. We don't know if he even wants to include the other Vs, or if he's going to take all the power for himself. All he has right now is his really nice looking white suit and a feel of a cult leader, which perfectly explains what he said earlier, directly showing us how manipulative he is to everyone around him. Final thing about these 2 episodes, but I always like to say a villain needs to be introduced as evil. Not the most evil thing they're capable of doing, but still evil enough to make the audience fear them. The problem with Vox is that he doesn't have that. As I mentioned, he loses his first fight, and after he loses that, most of his screen time, and even in season 2's beginning, is kind of ridiculous. We just got introduced to his plan that is evil, but just because he describes it as evil, that doesn't mean we necessarily believe it just yet. The interesting thing that flips this upside down is that as soon as we think that we know what Vox is up to, we are dropped with a bomb that Angel has been unknowingly helping Vox this entire time through hypnosis. We knew Vox had this power, but being completely blind to his plan behind the scenes makes what he does and everything he did scarier, shining a new light on how intelligent he is, and an easy way to make a villain more threatening is to make them smart. This thankfully gives Vox a villainous moment by abusing the most abused character in the show to prove that he really is as evil as he's starting to become, and that he's always been this way for longer than we thought. Now in episodes 7 and 8, to finish off the season, Vox actually just proves he's doing this all for himself, to be the one true god, and once again proves his ego can get the better of him when he, even though has a foolproof plan, Alastor manipulates him into thinking he'll need Charlie Morningstar's approval in order to really take credit for everything he's schemed. We also learn his backstory as a news host, further giving us answers to where Vox's ego really started when he was slaughtering his competition to get to the top. 7 really tied everything up for every last second thing we needed to know about Vox, and even why he has a TV on his head. Episode 8, being the big ending for the season, reiterated a lot of what was said in episode 7, but the cherry on top of everything is that Vox lost because of his ego. Everyone around him played into it, but as soon as they lost hope, he lost control, and when he lost control, he broke the deal he had with Alastor out of a technicality because of the smallest thing. Now, he is further cast to be Valentina and Velvet's toy because of his ego. Overall, Vox is the perfect egotistical villain because the most important thing to get right with one is that in order to have a satisfying character arc, that villain needs to succumb to their ego, letting it be the deciding factor on whether they win or lose, and in this case, Vox lost, and still after it all, it doesn't seem like he's learned his lesson, but I guess that's a story for when Vox is redeemed. Someday, maybe. Now, whatever I just said, just keep in mind that it was made before I'm writing this outro. I sacrificed a night's worth of rest for this video to be completed on time, and was it worth it? Probably, because hopefully it entertained you and maybe gave you a new way to view Vox. With that said, thank you everybody for watching. I'm Enchanted. Bye.